We? Record 38. Keywords. I don't know. Maybe the keywords are simply a thrown away cigarette. I regained consciousness in bright light. Opening my eyes was painful. I squinted. In my head, an acrid blue puff of smoke. Everything was in a cloud. And through the cloud I heard myself. But I didn't turn on the light. How was that? I leapt up. Behind the desk, having propped up her chin with her hand, I-330 was looking at me with a smirk. I am writing at that very desk right now. Those 10-15 minutes already passed, cruelly twisted into the most tightly wound band. It's as though the door has only just closed behind her and that it may still be possible to catch up to her, grab her hand, and then maybe she would start to laugh and say, I-330 was sitting behind the desk. I flung myself at her. You, I saw your room. I thought you had, but halfway through I struck upon sharp, immobile javelins of her eyelashes and stopped. It came to me, this is exactly how she looked at me in the integral. And now I must immediately, within the space of a second, be able to explain everything to her in a way that she will believe it. Otherwise, she never will. Listen, I-330, I have to tell you everything. No, right now, I just need a sip of water. The inside of my mouth was dry as though coated with blotting paper. I tried pouring the water, but I couldn't. I put the glass down on the table and tightly seized the jug with both hands. Now I see a blue puff of smoke. It's from a cigarette. She brought it up to her lips, pulled on it, and greedily swallowed the smoke as I drank the water. And she said, Don't bother. Shut up. Doesn't matter, you can see. I came anyway. They're downstairs. They're waiting for me. And you want these last minutes together to be spent. She tossed the cigarette to the floor and leaned all the way backward over the armrest of the chair. There was a button on the wall, and she had a hard time reaching it. I remember how the chair lurched and two of its legs came up from the floor. Then the blinds fell. She walked up and hugged me tight, her knees through her dress, a slow, gentle, warm poison covering me. And suddenly, this happens sometimes, you're deeply plunged into a sweet and warm dream, and suddenly something punctures it. You shudder, and your eyes are wide open again. And so it was now, the trampled pink tickets on the floor in her room, and on one of them the letter F and some digits. They were lumped into a ball inside me. I can't even say now what feeling is incited in me, but I squeezed her so hard that she cried out in pain. Another minute of those 10 or 15 on the bright white pillow, a head thrown back with half-closed eyes, a sharp, sweet stripe of teeth. The whole time I was being reminded of something nagging, ridiculous, torturous, something I shouldn't be thinking, that I mustn't think about even now. I squeezed her more and more tenderly, more and more cruelly, and the blue spots under my fingers became brighter and brighter. She said, not opening her eyes, I noticed this. They say that you were with the benefactor yesterday. Is this true? Yes, it's true. And then the eyes flew open, and I watched with pleasure how quickly her face paled, faded, disappeared. She was all eyes. I told her everything, except I don't know why. No, that's not true. I do know why. Except one thing, what he said at the very end about the fact that they had only needed me because, gradually, like photographic paper in the developing tray, her face emerged, cheeks a white stripe of teeth, lips. She got up and walked over to the mirrored door of the closet. Again, it was dry in my mouth. I poured myself some water, but drinking it was unpleasant. I put the glass down on the table and asked, Is that why you came? Because you needed to know about that? From the mirror to me, a sharp, mocking triangle of eyebrows lifted slightly to her temples. She turned around to say something to me, but said nothing. She didn't need to, I know. She said goodbye to each other. Say goodbye to each other. I moved my extraneous legs and they grazed the chair. It fell face down dead like the one in her room. Her lips were cold. At one time, the floor had been just as cold here in my room by the bed. When she left, I sat on the floor, bent over the cigarette she'd thrown away. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to anymore.